you just knock it off? Oh man, she started it. I apologize about that, but we got 30 days left to get this thing running and ripping at Matt's Off-Road Games this March, literally this month by the time you're seeing this, hopefully. And I'm not even really close. I'm not as close as I am right now, but let's get started on basically doing all this, but you guys don't get to see that just yet. First thing we need to do is finally actually finish the steering wheel, and that actually entails me taking off about half of these brackets to measure them out and actually fit them on the steering wheel so I can have hand controls, because I'm not gonna be able to actually shift and do all the things with feet, because this is just a quad. It's just a quad, but hey, we're gonna go out there, we're gonna have fun. We're not gonna go out there to lose, I'm telling you that. But we're gonna get started. Welcome to Speed Freaks. If you wanna like, subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. Leave a comment too. Tell me if I'm stupid or you hate me or whatever, but I don't really care. But we're gonna get started on this, and welcome to Speed Freaks. And like I said, we need to get the real steering wheel in here because, put in here because this was just a test piece and it's not really on there. As I said in the intro, we need to get these things taken off so we can actually figure out where they need to go on the steering wheel, because we're gonna do hand controls. I do want the steering wheel to look a lot better, and it's gonna be thicker material and all this other stuff, but we do need to know where all this stuff has to go first. So the first thing we had to do was obviously get rid of everything. The steering wheel is going to be moved back a lot further than what the handlebars were, so everything has to be completely redone. Brake lines, cables, everything. And also, couldn't get to the cables without having to remove the body. And this thing looks absolutely sick. It looks like some weird cyberpunk car or something off of Halo. Oh, this thing would be sick. Looks both freaky and cool at the exact same time. We're gonna get this deleted because we have a lot nicer headlights for this thing. We basically just needed to get this body removed so that we can move this hard line right here, because I couldn't get to it without cutting up the body, and we're not doing that anymore. Moving it down to our feet so we actually just have brakes all on your feet. Left for front brakes, right for the rear brakes, straight in the middle for both brakes. There are race cars that run that setup so that you can differentiate whenever you need to. But now all we gotta do is just get all this stuff unbolted, tucked where it needs to be, take the headlight off, and then we can get started on putting the body back on, getting everything where it needs to be, and getting our steering wheel built. So now that the wires and everything is all tucked, let me tell you something. We're actually gonna move this thing about 1.5 inches higher, because I don't really think it looks the best when it stands out like this. When it gets its cool little tiny hood scoop in the windshield, I think it'll look absolutely sick. But when you're sitting in it on that normal ride height, this is like 2 inches from touching that fender. But when you're like this, it's got about 5 to 6 inches, which is about the range of travel this thing has in the rear. Plus, it makes the steering wheel look not as tall, so it actually makes it fit a lot better. When you're sitting in it, goes back to that cool look. Steering wheel doesn't look so high, and it gives us more room for travel. Win-win in all scenarios. But now we need to get started on actually fixing this steering wheel. And I've got all the parts right here that we need to do it, so we'll get all those over to the table, get started on measuring everything out and cutting it up.
Champion all in my veins.
All right, so we got the basics traced out. This is kind of what it's gonna look like. It's actually a little bit bigger, maybe a little bigger than I want it to be, but I don't know. We're gonna cut out the shape in 1/8 inch steel, see how it looks, set it on top of there, and then we'll get started on cutting the real thing if it works.
I got blood of champion all in my veins. Turn up the city, turn up the city. Might start a ride, they better come get me. I got the ball and I'm running it straight through the door. Ain't stopping until I'm a 50. Way I be switching up styles, I probably won't run out of flavor until I turn 60.
Okay, so we got this piece cut off, and actually, there's literally only like one hole that didn't go through, but we're gonna use this piece as the actual steering wheel, just for the simple fact of, I think it's thick enough as 1/8 inch to work on this piece just fine. We're gonna wrap some paracord around here so it's a little bit more cushiony, and then basically there's gonna be a huge bunch of gussets for the paddles that's gonna stiffen this back piece, and I might just throw one down here just to make it extra strong. A 1/4 inch would work just fine, but if this one does not work, We'll cut it out of 1/4 inch. Right now, I'm just trying to keep it as lightweight as possible because this is a big piece of metal. This weighs like, I don't know, probably 4 to 5 pounds. A 1/4 inch would weigh like 10 pounds. So we're gonna take these holes to the drill press real quick, and then we're actually gonna cut a piece of 1/4 inch that doesn't have this big hole. It actually goes on the inside of this piece, and then we'll weld that up, find some bolts that match with this piece, and then we'll have a steering wheel that's actually bolted to the car. So let's get started on getting that done.
Step into my circle with the opposite of Urkel. When I pull up flying purple, people eaters couldn't bite me. I still the fate of Herschel. And I just leave them on the lemon.
Okay, I didn't get away with being lazy. I forgot that when you plasma cut something, it superheats it, and those bits do not want to go through that. So we're just gonna get this bad little bastard fired up, get everything all cut out of 1/4 inch. We're just gonna do a 1/4 inch, you know. I didn't get away with being lazy, so we can't get away with this being lazy.
He got shook and disappeared. Sketching ever since nobody heard his bullshit for 8 days. I sacrificed some great relationships due to a passion I was chasing quick. But when you've got everything to lose and nothing to gain, unless you make it live with old friends, can stay at home and watch me like the beat and paint the babysit. Break the stage and basic it. You never see a record spin on radios and labels.
We finally got this piece cut out. It actually looks pretty good. There is one hole, but luckily since we finally, look at all these test pieces. Look at this. It took me 2 times to learn that the consumables were off. Then when I tried to make this hub that actually mounts the steering wheel on here, I cut out this section. Rather than making it smaller, I had it the same size. So, yeah, we're a little stupid here, but this is, you know, this is what I'm telling you guys. Not everybody's a professional. I'm an idiot. But I'm an idiot with a new steering wheel, so let's get this thing all cleaned up and put on there. And also fix this hole. We started getting the slag off, and I mean, this thing is absolutely amazing looking. Getting it shined up. Tried tapping the holes, but realized I didn't have the actual right size bolts, so we're just literally gonna bolt them in there. Got it weld up, and now look at this thing. I mean, it looks sick. So now that the real steering wheel is in here, and I mean, this thing is beefy. It ain't going nowhere. We're gonna just get a nice little thumb throttle up here. It's just gonna be a piece that smoothly wraps around this. It's gonna look all nice. And then it just basically goes up and down, pulls the throttle on the back side, and you don't really see it up front. You're gonna see it on this side, but there's nothing I can do about that. It's kind of an open steering wheel. To hide a throttle on this thing would be kind of hard. But thumb throttle, so it keeps your arms in a nice grip right here, so you're not letting go, having to do this where your fingers are just dangling around. This one is you're locked in there. But we're gonna get started on that because I don't think this is gonna be that difficult, but I'm also gonna cut to this if I'm wrong. I was kind of wrong. Now, it actually wasn't that hard to build the part that I needed. It was just more of, it was intricate and small, and I did not want it to just look like there was a giant thumb throttle sticking out of the steering wheel because it's very flat. There's no real way to hide anything, so I had to make sure that it was really good. So I went back to the drawing board like 5 or 10 times. I created about 3 or 4 prototypes before I even got close to the actual idea that I wanted, but I think the end result looks pretty good. So here's what we got so far. This is gonna actually just be a kind of press rivet. This is basically just gonna go on there and be on there forever. But basically, you're gonna be sitting here like this. The reason I'm doing it this way is just for the simple fact that if you go, oh crap, and you go to grip on the steering wheel, you're automatically gonna let go of this throttle. Versus if you're like, oh crap, and you just grip onto it tight, you're not gonna let go of that thing. But we actually have to get this little lever down here extended to where it comes down to this piece, and then it gives you a little bit more leverage and actuation. So I'm gonna get started on remaking this piece, and then you guys will see it when throttle's all done. So we started on getting that thing done, got everything welded up, and I actually needed to bang this piece down to get the outer trace of it so that it worked perfectly on the first try. Hopefully that doesn't really work out a lot of times. And we're just gonna spot weld this piece on there. I didn't want to fully weld it because I think it would just kind of look weird. And this is me testing the spot welds. There we go. Finally. It literally took bending these pieces fully back to get that to pop. And there's gonna be 2 of these. We're gonna be fine. I apologize for the egregious camera work, but that was one single spot weld. We're gonna have 2 of those, and they're gonna be a bit bigger, so they're gonna go in deeper. So it's gonna be more than fine for something that literally only has like 2 pounds of pressure being pushed onto it for a throttle cable. I probably would use it for a clutch cable if I wanted to, but we're not gonna do that. And for those of you who are gonna say the steering wheel design is dangerous, no it's not. I don't know what you're talking about. But we did get this piece kind of in here. All we need to do now is just shred this pin down, and we're just gonna press fit the pin in there so it's locked in there at all times. But it looks really good. I mean, that came out pretty good. We just need to put a notch in there before we do anything so that it actually, you know, initiates the throttle, has an area where it locks in the pin, and then we're done with the throttle cable because it's already got a little tab mounted up right here that I built a while back ago. So, perfect. And the rest of the setup was super simple. I mean, it's just getting a notch so you can actually get the cable inside of the little hole, bang down the throttle so it gives it more of a curved look rather than it just being straight and flat. Drill a hole for everything to go inside of, and this thing looks good. Super sleek, super minimal. I think it looks pretty darn good. Let me know what you think. Okay, this freaking steering system just looks absolutely gorgeous. I mean, look at that. Super simple design, safe, because if you're jumping and you go, and you accidentally just grab a hold of this thing, or you just lock up your fingers or whatever, this is killing the actual throttle. This is what activates it. So whenever you're driving, it's wah, 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 instead of accidentally going like, crap, and latching onto that damn thing. So, super simple, but pretty darn clean looking. I mean, that clasp looks absolutely gorgeous, and everything just looks pretty decent. So now we actually are gonna do a clutch. I might do the clutch this video, or I might not. It's getting close to Sunday, and trying to post once a week for you guys. I'm sorry for the irregular post. I'm also sorry for that burp in the video, but it is what it is. But I'm sorry. Burps aside, we had to get something done that I was absolutely dreading. I don't like making two things that are similar. I can make one, but not two. And you can see here in the time lapse that I really didn't want to do the other floorboard. All right, so now what we're gonna do here is basically just get these little wheel wells off, put them in the arc droid, have that thing cut this out because I really don't want to do that. We're gonna dimple die these. I think I have the right size. I can't really remember, but I'm pretty sure I have the right size for each one of these. If I do, dimple it, add gussets underneath each one of these corners so that it's really strong, and then actually fully welded in here. This should not be too hard now that I have, you know, the tools and obviously the template to literally do everything. Should be a couple of hours, but we're gonna get started on that, get this traced in the arc droid, get this bent, and get it all cut out. These also look like cool floorboards, but they also kind of look like cool blades. My back. I need to start stretching. My oldness aside, we basically just needed to get the floorboards mapped out in the arc droid's little software, and then we got started on actually getting the rest of the pieces done. This was a super simple task. I mean, having the obvious template right there in front of my face made this go by so much faster, and the arc droid was a huge help in that. Then it was time to get on to bending the tubes. This is the main reason I bought my new tube bender, was because I wanted to use it on these floorboards instead of having to do this. But we don't have the right size tubing, so sucks to suck. So both floor panels are in there. Now it's just finally time to get started on the clutch, which I think I'm gonna do in the next video. We got the steering done, the throttle done. Clutch is technically working right now. Both floorboards are done. Literally all it is pedals and then just some wiring right there, which is super simple. I'm gonna make it super simple. It ain't gonna be hard, but what we're gonna do basically next video is get this thing driving and hopefully do a jump test, because we have to get this thing ready for the off-road game. Appreciate every single one of you watching, and stay freaky.